So as you know, this morning I met with Mr. Anastasiades, and I just had a similar conversation with Mr. Akıncı. I do feel that both sides, both leaders express a continued desire to find a way to solve the Cyprus problem. I don't think there's any reason to doubt that. But I think we know that Montpellier 2 was a setback to the process, and what we need to do now is to find a way to overcome that in order to move forward. And we haven't done it yet. These conversations will have to continue. I do not think it's going to be easy, but we'll do our best from our side to, in the form of shuttle diplomacy, and try to help develop ideas. But at the end of the day, it is of course up to the leaders to make the decision to return to the table and to orchestrate the coming weeks. So that we do not lose the momentum. That's what we're discussing now. We had two very good and honest discussions about the challenges that we are now facing, and I cannot say anything more than this work is going to continue in the days to come, and I feel a strong commitment to try to find a way from both sides to come over this, but we cannot pretend that what happened in Montpellier did not happen, of course.
Do you manage to set up a date? Or no?
There is no agreed dates right now, but of course we were discussing potential dates when we were in Montpellier, but I cannot say more right now because we need to. It's a bigger picture now that has to be agreed.
What is the main obstacle to continue the process?
That's a little bit difficult to say in a short form, but I think there is. I think all of us, everybody involved in this process, including the two leaders, see the contours of what the final settlement would look like, largely. I think that's been the truth for quite a while, but it's how to get there, because there are understandable tactical differences in the way to move in that direction, which I understand, but which also at some stage has to be reconciled. So when you look for an answer to that, you may not necessarily find the answer in a specific substantial issue. It's also very much an issue of organizing this last mile. And I've been saying many times, even long before Montpellier, that the last mile is always the most difficult one in peace processes. So if there's any consolation in that, I can say that in almost every success in peace talks are preceded by a crisis. What we have been blessed with here in Cyprus is 19 months of no real crisis. We had a few small disputes, but there was no real break. This isn't a break either, but it's probably the most significant setback that we've had since May 2015, and I think we should be honest about that, and I think the leaders are very much aware of this.
Do you think that you are going to manage to draw a map for the process in order to get on the track?
Well, I mean, the two leaders have expressed the willingness to engage in that discussion for the moment through me right now, and that's of course our ambition. But at the end of the day, it's very important in my role as a facilitator from the UN to remember that we can never want it more than they. It is at the end of the day a leader-led process. I have been very loyal to the principle that this is Cypriot owned and led by the leaders here in Cyprus. So they have to make up their mind in the end. I think they will, but it's up to them.
Greek Cypriot Foreign Minister's stand was a setback as well, caused for a setback. Have we managed to overcome it? Because there is a lot of discussions going on from the point of view of the Greek Cypriot.
The only thing I want to say about that is that I have almost daily, or at least a couple of times a week, contact lately with all relevant players, including all the guarantor powers. And my sense is that none of them are happy about the current situation. They are actually quite worried that this situation has developed, and I think we will work hard to make sure that we're all aligned and in preparing for the last mile. But the question is also very much a question about what's happening here in Cyprus, right?
Is it a disagreement about whether to close the territory now before going to the next stage, or how to close it?
But this is exactly when the discussions we're having now is what to do when. So I'm not gonna, and they have not concluded. So there's nothing I can say right now.
Was there any
Okay,
suggestion
thank you,
from
thank you.
Mr. Anastasiades to Mr. Akıncı? Any messages that came?
If there was, I would have delivered them to the right addressee.
Okay, thank you. We have to finish it there. Thank you. Thank you.
What
Thank
are the
you.
next
Thank
steps
you.
for UN that should be now for UN?
But the UN doesn't have any steps on their own. I mean, it's a leader-led process, and we're helping the leaders as much as we can. So I will keep talking to them and see how we can move forward from the situation we're in.